What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And today, we got a classic SCP. From what you guys been telling me, this SCP was the first one written. However, it's not the first in the SCP universe. So I always had this on my radar from just looking at the few that I wanted to react to in the beginning stages of my channel, which I'm still in, by the way. And it's about time to get through this one, and it looks really cool because I commented about it a lot on other videos about how it's from different series. But without any further ado, this SCP is SCP-173, the sculpture. So if you guys remember some of the reactions I had way back, this SCP was in those reactions. For example, for the indestructible creature, this dude was going against it, and I was like, whoa, like his powers are similar to those dark angels from Doctor Who, the weeping angels. So ever since I seen that, I was like, I want to get into this because I kind of figured what it will be about. However, let's just see if there's anything else that I'm not expecting. So if you guys are excited for this reaction alongside with me, please remember to smash that like button. It means the world to takes less than a second, and it goes a long way, guys. And also remember, if you're not already part of the family and you made it this far, feel free to smash that subscribe button, especially if you're new to the channel, you never see any of my videos. I go balls to the wall, I go full throttle, like we have a great time here. I make reactions, SCP reactions daily for you guys, multiple uploads sometimes as well. So it behooves you, if you like my reactions and you love SCPs, might as well sub and come along for the journey. It's gonna be a fun time, man. Don't want you to miss out. The channel has stopped, and we're about to keep it pushing, so hop on in. So with all of the way, remember, this is from the rubber. Feel free to check out the original if you would like. I'm sure you guys all seen it, but like always, link in the description for the original video. But without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-173, the sculpture. Let's get it, boys and girls.
Then John heard the worst sound any human being had ever heard, a sneeze, coming from 6 inches behind his head. For a second, John remembered an episode of Mythbusters he had seen before being arrested, before coming here, where they tested to see if someone could sneeze with his eyes open. And yep, he never saw the end. There was a sick, wet thud, a horrible ripping sound, and a scream that ended too quickly. John didn't even have a chance to turn around and look over. Hello, everybody. I'm the Rubber. Today, we bring you a SCP Foundation Euclid class object, SCP-173. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. It moved to the SCP Foundation in 1993, but its origins are unknown to this day. SCP-173 is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173...
What? I gotta hear that again. What is it constructed with? Like, what the heck? I would have never guessed.
73 is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is completely still while in an organism's field of vision, only moving when it isn't being watched, even if the observer simply blinks or barely looks off the object. Just when the observer blinks, SCP-173 will make a grindstone sound and move forward a short distance quickly. Despite the fact that it is a statue, SCP-173 can move fast enough to travel several feet in the time it takes for the human eye to reopen after blinking. It can literally move faster than the blink of an eye.
I'm assuming when it gets to you, he cracks your neck. I hope they go into why he does this, or whatever this entity is.
It will advance towards its target until it is in range, then snaps its victim's neck. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull, or by strangulation. SCP-173 is apparently strong enough to snap the neck of a fully grown man almost instantly, although exactly how it does this is unknown. However, the creature is rendered completely immobile for as long as it's in an organism's sight. Therefore, personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking.
Wow, that's crazy.
Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside.
I'm assuming he's dragging himself then? Because it still is a statue, which is kind of weird because it's showing like the statue strangling the other people. However, like if it's a case where he is dragging himself across the room, that's why it's scraping, that's why it seems like he's like, sliding across the room. Why would his lower body not move as well as his arms, Like, it's kind of weird.
However, this is considered normal. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood, but so far, the source of these materials is still unknown. And due to the increasing amount of reddish-brown material, Its enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis.
Jesus.
Being constructed of concrete and rebar, SCP-173 is incredibly durable, able to hold itself in a fight against SCP-682.
We saw him.
SCP-682 is a massive reptilian beast with almost unlimited regenerative powers that is widely considered the most adaptive and durable SCP the Foundation contains.
Jeez.
If you want to know more about SCP-682, you can click on this video in the upper right
Shameless
corner.
plug.
Back to 173. So the Foundation personnel arranged a battle with 682 in order to test the durability of
We've seen this.
173. And from that day on, it inspires great fear in 682. Because
That's crazy.
SCP-173 is an extremely dangerous object, hence is to be kept in a locked container at all times.
You know what? I want to know, did someone create this object? Because they're saying constructed, like, it was built. So who created this entity, this sculpture? You know? Like, it was found back in the 1900s. I hope they, I doubt they will go in depth about how it came to be, but oh well.
When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time, and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. And now, probably the scariest thing is that 173 seems to have started its reproduction. Here's one of the recordings of personnel's and
They better talk about how. That shit just popped out of nowhere. Please, please. This is a sculpture. How is it reproducing other organisms? Like, how is it getting babies, bro? You gotta go and you have to at least, you know, touch the surface of it. At least, please. Let me rewind a little bit.
production. Here's one of the recordings of personnel's and 173's containment. What are you looking at? John Avery, presently known as D5933, shouted at the other D-Class personnel in the cell. SCP-173, what are you looking at? Came the reply. This worried John, as he was staring intently at SCP-173, and the other D-Class personnel was standing behind John, facing the other direction. Then, John heard the worst sound any human being had ever heard, a sneeze, coming from 6 inches behind his head.
Oh, I get it now. I get it now. That's why from the beginning they're asking, oh, like, can you sneeze without closing your eyes? So they could use these D-Class people to, like, you know, look at this sculpture without any distractions like a sneeze. Because with that, like, you're done. Like, if you blink, it's over, so... And you blink when you sneeze. Okay, I get it now.
For a second, John remembered an episode of Mythbusters he had seen before being arrested, before coming here, where they tested to see if someone could sneeze with his eyes open. And yep, he never saw the end. There was a sick, wet thud, a horrible ripping sound, and a scream that ended too quickly. John didn't even have a chance to turn around and look over. From SCP-173's Addendum 1, it was written that SCP-173 appeared to multiply, producing 2 identical copies. 2 D-Class personnel were killed. It is unknown how this process occurred.
What?
Each instance of
Whoa, rewind. How is that possible?
173's Addendum 1, it was written that John didn't even have a chance to turn around and look over. From SCP-173's Addendum 1, it was written that SCP-173 appeared to multiply, producing 2 identical copies. 2 D-Class personnel were killed. It is unknown how this process occurred. Each instance of SCP-173, now labeled SCP-173-1 and SCP-173-2, is to be moved to individual cells, each following original containment procedures. In Addendum 2, it was noted down that a second multiplication event occurred. SCP-173-1 through 4 are to be each contained as per original containment procedures. Objects reclassed as Keter. And in the Addendum 3, at least 61 copies of SCP-173 are as of now unaccounted for. It is unknown how they replicated so fast, or how they replicate at all.
Yeah, okay, I mean, if they don't even know, I'm assuming even in the, like, the detail analysis videos of this SCP, maybe they wouldn't know. I don't know, because it's different if they're not just talking about it, but they're actually saying, like, they, SCP Foundation don't even know, let alone Rebber, so, wow.
Video evidence of the containment breach shows multiple instances of SCP-173 working in unison across multiple cells to achieve the breach. Most of the instances still in captivity appear to have formed a rear guard, blocking Foundation agents from pursuing other instances.
A whole army of them?
It is theorized that SCP-173 has a hive intelligence, where intelligence scales with number of nearby copies. SCP-173 has caused a breach of secrecy for the SCP Foundation. Estimates at this time are roughly 500,000 civilian deaths across North America in the last 48 hours due to SCP-173.
That makes sense. He has a whole army. How are they reproducing? Like, I need to know how. And what's triggering this reproduction? Like, oh my god.
And hundreds of thousands of sightings and pieces of video evidence. Major television news programs have obtained video of SCP-173 and are providing instructions for avoiding instant death.
Oh my
and
god.
following saturation nuclear bombing on number of SCP-173 instances has been reduced. I hope you enjoyed.
That's a lot to take in. Don't get me wrong. This is a really cool. I thought this SCP was super cool, even in the even before I ever actually did a reaction, from like how it's similar to other things I watch on TVs. But it's just interesting that it could reproduce, and they don't know why. And is the rubber just saying that because he just doesn't want to cover it? But he said like he doesn't know why, and the SCP Foundation doesn't know why either. So I'm assuming it just is not in the records how he reproduced. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just not in this video, and they just did it that way for the animation. But I'm just intrigued. Like, this is crazy. Like, a whole army of SCP-173. Like, that's insane. Like, I knew this SCP was top tier. It's like literally like the instant death SCP. But for a whole army of it, guys, like, I don't think I could put him top 5. Yo, okay, I might have to make a tier list where like I need to get more under my belt to make one. But like, yo, so far this is high up there, man. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, and if you guys were surprised as much as I was when it's your first time watching this, it's probably way back. But if you guys were, let me know in the comment section below. And also, if you know how they reproduce, if that's actually the case that they really don't know, then let me know in the comment section below. But if there is a case and they just didn't cover it, let me know too. Be much appreciated. And yeah, man, this is a great one, and I'm glad you guys tuned in. But like always, remember, catch the original description below, and also smash that like button and smash the sub button if you made it all the way to the end. And you haven't, come on, man, take this time to do so you catch the next one. And also remember, turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. With that being said, unfortunately, the show has ended. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one. With